Hello. Welcome to episode 4 of the AV podcast. We're doing this intro again, so it sounds a little funny. We're here with our guest, Jack Rosenblatt. No need for the crazy introduction. He writes for the Texas Travesty. Woohoo.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for really pumping me up.
I'm sorry about that, Jack.
No.
We got more water. We did get more water. That was kind of our, that's all we talked about beforehand.
Delicious, free
Before
water.
the podcast started, we were just talking about how my mother did a 23andMe, and I'm going to do one to see if I'm missing a chromosome.
I'm going to take the glasses off.
And, we'll see if I got some good luck or not. And if so, if I am missing a chromosome, which one of my horrible parents gave it to me?
That would be unfortunate. I also feel like they'd be able to tell by this point.
Yeah, I don't think I'm missing a chromosome.
I don't think you're missing one either.
But as I explained to him, my mother has 277 Neanderthal variances. So that's wonderful.
That seems like a lot.
The number one person that's ever done it has 306. And I guess that just means that you have little changes in your DNA that are because of your connection to Neanderthals. So my mom is less likely to sneeze after she eats dark chocolate because of those babies.
That seems so like that's like an allergy relief for her. Like if she eats like a Hershey.
So. What if
it's like a Claritin for her?
It is like a Claritin. Her DNA variance is like her Claritin. She's popping those Neanderthal variances like Claritin.
That's so crazy.
So Jack, I'm gonna start talking about something. I don't know if you've heard about this. I saw it the other day. We're gonna talk a little bit about a few film-related things and TV things before we get into the meat of this rib. This delicious baby back rib.
This rib.
We're going to start. Have you heard of, have you seen the little teaser for Space Force? And do you know what that is?
Oh, no, I didn't see the teaser, but I just saw a headline on IMDb about it. I think it said that Steve Carell is going to be on the cast.
Okay, so Space Force is a comedy about the new kind of organization Donald Trump has created to tackle space-related activities. It's called Space Force, and it's going to be a comedy set in space with like a bunch of astronauts like doing stuff. Co-directed and starring Steve Carell, and the other director's the other guy that directed The Office. Mm-hmm. So it's just straight up the people that made The Office. They are paying, reportedly, Steve Carell $1 million per episode.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't doubt it.
Which may be why they raised their price by $2.
Well, he's like a veteran. He's a veteran. He's like a major veteran.
So my question to you is, do you hope Steve Carell does a new character, or do you want him to do a character that you're kind of a type of character that you're used to, a character he's good at?
Well, I guess I hope he tries something. I think he's going to try something new because, as we've seen since The Office, he's consistently played these roles that are like out of character for him, and like
that's true.
And so like I definitely think he's probably going to come back and bring like a whole new like vibe to it. Like maybe he's not going to be like an unwitting like dummy idiot. Like maybe he'll be like a
guy.
A super like authoritarian, just like
that'd be really
mean,
funny. I just hope it's really funny.
Yeah, no, it's got. What I wonder is like I just have so many questions. Like, is it gonna be something that is it gonna be a show that makes fun of Trump's policy assertions?
I don't
what
think
the
so.
Space Force
I think they're using it as
they're just using it as a vehicle to make a cool
comedy.
Show.
Like the thought of the Space Force, an organization created by the president to like do stuff in space. They have the definition of it to like protect and serve in space or something. It's like a really funny definition. Is already like a funny concept to launch on Trump. But I think it's just going to be a space comedy, dude. It's just going to be people like 6 astronauts on a rocket ship that just hate each other. They just really hate each other.
That's so funny.
And it's like I hope it's hilarious. If they're paying him $1 million and it's the same people that made The Office, dude.
$1 million an episode.
But imagine if like a show like that came back in. Like, what good comedies are there going on right now that are like? No, I'm not saying that there's not good comedies, but that are like so like worldwide and so like widely viewed as something like The Office, where it's like everyone was like, I love The Office.
Well,
I'm watching The Office.
I'll tell you what.
widespread.
A lot of people, I don't watch this, but like a lot of people are really liking that show The Good Place now. I've
never watched it either.
I've heard about it like every day. Like everybody says it's so good, it's so funny. I think that is good for comedy TV shows though, because they're not in like the zeitgeist, they're not in the cultural mainstream. Maybe they won't be at the top of the viewership like charts or whatever, but because of that, it's just gonna have people like continuously make variations and like alter the like format that we already know. You know, like I think Atlanta is like the best show on TV right now.
That's a good point.
I don't know if anybody's seen Atlanta, but check it out. It's on Hulu, people.
Good plug.
Very good stuff. It's like so funny, and it's like they made a cartoon about Earn and this like community, but then they shot it in like real life, and it's really dark.
Yeah,
but it's so surreal that it's almost cartoonish at times.
That's cool. You know, again, I'm definitely, Space Force has piqued my interest. I don't think I've heard of.
I'll definitely check it out.
From my knowledge, I don't remember any sort of comedy kind of set in space. So I think
I'll check out anything that Steve Carell does.
There's a lot of opportunity to make a lot of original, funny jokes. You know what I'm saying? Like some original comedy. It's very abstract place that they can do a lot of cool stuff with. So I'm excited. The next thing I'm going to talk about, I mean, I don't know how much you care about this, but I guess it's maybe even the controversy surrounding this, and you can decide how you feel about it. And I'll tell you my theory on it, and maybe you have one. So the trailer for Spider-Man Away From Home?
Far From Home.
Spider-Man Far From Home came out.
With Jake Gyllenhaal. Gyllenhaal
Hale.
Who is, I just mad respect. I have a massive
respect.
I have like a massive amount of respect for like his I just think he's like a great actor. I really like him.
Okay.
And I'm not a superhero guy at all. Carlos knows this. Like I'm pretty vehemently against seeing any of the new superhero movies that are out now, because they always have disappointed me. But
they disappointed me for a while, except for.
But like Gyllenhaal's gonna get me in that theater, man.
So okay, here's my question for you. So the controversy surrounding it has nothing to do with Jake.
Controversy.
Highland Hale. It is Heil and Hale. That sounds horrible.
Oh jeez.
The controversy is that Spider-Man's dead from. Well, I'm sorry. This is a spoiler. It's been too long.
Oh.
So I'll give a little spoiler warning.
Spoiler after you spoil. Spoiler alert after you spoil.
Infinity War, but that movie's been out for, I think. What's the grace period for that? It's been out for a while, man.
I mean, it's been out for like almost 6 months now.
It's out on Netflix, so there's no reason not to see it. It's been out for like almost 2 months on Netflix. So yes, I do have the right to spoil this.
I'll spill my water.
Spider-Man is dead.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Infinity War at this point,
So by the way, that's
a
good superhero movie in my opinion. I was very satisfied because it wasn't like, it didn't follow the normal tropes of like the main thing that always holds me back from superhero movies is like, of course the good guy's gonna win. But I was so satisfied to see that they didn't. So the controversy is that like the trailer obviously shows him alive, like doing stuff, and they're like, that sucks. That just like tells us what's gonna happen in Avengers Endgame. A, do you think that is a crappy thing to do? B, do you think it doesn't matter? Like everyone could have already called that.
Wait.
Or C, do you think there's something else going on? Which I
wait. Hold on. So like you're saying that the theory is that he dies in this movie.
No.
Before the because doesn't he die at the end of Infinity War?
This movie is confirmed taking place after Avengers Endgame, according to producers. It takes place after it. So he died at the end of Infinity War, and he's
now
They're
we
making
know.
A movie.
That's
so it's
so
like
funny.
The guy's alive.
Oh, that I don't. That does not surprise me at all. And here's why. Let me
explain.
Just
then I'll
explain
talk
this.
to you about my point.
If this is true, it stands as an exhibition of the number one reason why I can't stand those movies is how they shamelessly bring people back to life all the time. And it really makes me not fear for the characters whatsoever. And it it feels like a cop out to me, and like immediately there's no stakes anymore. Like as soon as when they did it with Nick Fury, and now they're probably going to do it with Iron Man, and now they're probably going to do it with Spider-Man. It's just like a really cheap, like, it's been done before in stuff, and I like it because they spend more time on the actual process of like the resurrection. Game of Thrones, boy.
Spoil it, but yes. Game of Thrones is
we're not gonna say who or anything, but like Game of Thrones has a very good example
we'll
of that.
In a second, too.
But like this, it's happened so much in those, like, in that atmosphere of movies that I'm so tired of it. And again, it's just another reason why, like, those movies are not even in the slightest bit like intense to me, because I don't believe anything bad is going to happen to the characters or any character that I care about, and B, I believe even if it does, there's going to be some sort of pick me up for them, and like, oh, they're the good guy at the end of the day thing for them, and I'm just I'm so exhausted with it. And it's like, listen, the DC movies have been a heaping pile of garbage, but I mean, in a way, at least they're like trying to like show some like darkness and cruelty of like what the superhero world could be.
That is the difference between the two of them, and I actually prefer the Marvel variants. I think superheroes are already so far-fetched that I don't want to see the kind of the cruelty side. I think it's better to paint in a more lighthearted manner, mostly from the fact it's like superheroes in and of themselves are absurd concepts. So I feel like an absurdist kind of vibe is better to go with it. But let me give you my theory, Jack. This is a deep theory. This is a wild.
Oh, this is a real deep. Hold for Bell.
This is a wild. We're going off the rails here.
This is a deep cut, you guys.
I have some proof of this. If someone in the studio would like to pull up some clips of this trailer, Jamie, if you want to do some research here, you can see.
I don't think Connor can do research right now. He's preoccupied.
That's fine. So here's my theory. So there's a couple important things I noticed in this trailer. Thing number one. Everyone's acting like everything's normal, clearly, right? Everyone thinks is after Endgame. So there's also some people that don't think it's actually after Endgame, and I can't speak about that.
I thought that this was going to take place after the events of Homecoming and before the events of Infinity War.
Oh, but anyways, so let me give you my theory if it is happening after Endgame. So if you look in the trailer, they show a shot with his passport getting stamped at the airport. There are no years. It has his birthday, and it has the date that he's leaving, and the years are just missing. It's weird, right? Why are the years missing? The other thing that's important to remember is at the end of Infinity War, you see Nick Fury, and Nick Fury is in the trailer for this thing. Something else that's a little apparent in this new trailer is that there's no other superheroes that we know about. None of them. There's no Iron Man. There's nobody. There's nobody that you would expect to see in this world now, almost like filled with superheroes. Why is now this guy all by himself? Just because he's in Europe doesn't mean there's no superheroes there. And the other thing is
screw Europe.
Going to Europe.
You don't need superheroes in Europe.
Obviously, there's some sort of plot reason he's going to Europe, but going to Europe is just really weird. Like as a superhero, like why are you taking a plane? Like it's a little bit of a weird concept. Hear me out. I believe that this movie is going to take place in Spider-Man's like lost soul, or like his brain, almost like a comatose state. And so he's basically like in a coma from this whole dead thing. And Nick Fury is actually in the real world, but communicating to him within his brain. And he's going through this whole plot fighting this guy, whatever, this brain created thing. Maybe it'll touch on his fears and things that he's not good at, fighting his own things. And it's going to happen in his brain, right? He's going to get the girl. All this stuff is going to happen. And then he's going to come back to life. And none of it happened. None of it. He's going to think that girl is his girl, and she's not. She doesn't like him. She's not into him. The stuff that happened in the movie didn't happen. Jake Gyllenhaal's character, not real. Didn't come. He's just going to come back to life, and all of that didn't happen. It was just a trick in his brain, and Nick Fury was helping him escape this, like, get out of his coma, but he couldn't get out because he's stuck in this weird, like, sick, twisted, like, brain coma.
Bruh.
We're going off the rails here.
You really did go off the rails. You went off the frickin' mountain, bro. You
imagine
It's all a dream.
Imagine.
I am imagining
if that was
it.
the plot.
I still don't think.
Wonderful.
I still don't. What? I still don't
wonderful.
think that would like satisfy me.
It satisfies me.
Okay. What's?
We're gonna move in to the meat of this squirrel. All right.
The meat of this squirrel.
We're on. Yeah.
That's not legal game. You can't kill a squirrel and eat it. I don't think. Right.
In Spain, I believe I was served squirrel
Jamie?
legs, squirrel bones as baby back ribs. We ordered a half rack of baby backs, and they were the size of squirrel spines. It was very small and tiny. Spain doesn't have good meat. Okay. We're going to be talking about some politics. Jack, I know you're a pretty avid political, I don't know, I'm not going to call you an enthusiast. I don't think anyone's really enthused by politics, but
not really.
Political
informist. am fascinated by what's going on, and I talk about it sometimes.
So we're going to talk.
That's my qualification.
We're going to talk about two things related to politics. We're going to start. I have a little bit of information here we're going to get through. Mm-hmm. Currently, as of this day of recording, January 17th, 2019, the United States is in the 27th day of the partial government shutdown, the longest shutdown in the history of the United States. The government shutdown is when basically legislation isn't passed, legislation that includes kind of how the government funding is going to be dictated and how they're going to pay the government.
What's new?
And so because it was not passed, a bunch of government employees are out of work. They're not being paid right now. And it's very scary. It's very sad. There's a lot of people affected by this. And the reason we are currently in this government shutdown is because there is a disagreement between the Democrats of the Congress and the president.
It's not just the Democrats of the Congress anymore.
It's a lot of people in the idea of spending $5 billion on building the border wall between the United States and Mexico. It's also relevant to note this is the second government shutdown of President Trump's candidacy.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jack, I want to hear your thoughts on the government shutdown, and I want you to, obviously it's a hefty goal, but what do you propose as the solution to the government shutdown? Because it is important that we do this. Actually, before we get into that, one thing did happen today, a little update.
There's a lot
President
going on
Trump
right
did
now.
just pass a bill. It's basically a back pay bill. So, It seems better than it is, but basically once the government shutdown is over, so it still has to end, but when it does end, there is now a new thing in play that will basically pay the government employees for the time that they missed. So it's like a back pay system, but it has to be once
they better institute something.
Yeah, so that has been passed today, but
right.
It still doesn't affect anyone until the government shutdown is complete.
Is over, right.
It's back over, so speak to me.
Well, the government shutdown, it was kind of like another inevitability. There are so many things that he had proposed up in his candidacy when he was Trump the candidate that like now he's trying to follow through on. But, like most of his policies that he uses to most of his policies that he uses to outrage his base are cartoonish and unrealistic. And so with the wall, he's reached a point where he's deciding that he wants to play a waiting game with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, who are the leaders of the Democratic majority in the House of Representatives, and he is waiting because he knows that the FBI is looking in on his stuff right now, and it's because of the indictments on Michael Cohen and Paul Manafort. It's not looking good for what's going to come out on him in the future, but he is using this government shutdown to almost keep them off his back inside the walls of the government, because he already has to.
That's a bold claim.
Well, it's the thing about the Trump presidency is there's so many moving parts that the Democrats are trying to contain in their sphere and control, but he's so violently out of control that he's now gotten them into a point of discourse where he can shut down the government to, I guess, stave off any further progress in either them talking about what they're going to do about the family separation at the border, B, them deciding that they're not going to pay for the wall because we're not going to do it, C, them figuring out what we're going to do with the thousands of Border Patrol people who are down there unnecessarily and who don't want to be there and are miserable down there. And I mean, on top of this, yesterday we have another issue where we had troops who were hit on a patrol in Syria, and that's the tip of the iceberg of a conflict that will never be solved as long as we live. And it's like, I just personally, now that I've, I guess, essentially tried to like explain some moving parts, my stance is just that the Democrats need to, I mean, it's he really, with the government shutdown, they can't organize and make actions against him. So they have, all they're really working on right now, deep in the underground and low key, is 2020, because that is the Democrats' big flaming hope.
It's actually the other topic we have to discuss.
Right, and I'm sure it would be, but it's like 2020 is gonna be a really big deal because it really could go either way, and if they're able to get him out of office, Robert Mueller may be waiting until the 2020 election so that he can prosecute Trump as a citizen and not as a sitting president, because Trump will not have nearly the power or resources to stop Robert Mueller of the FBI from doing that. Mm-hmm. So that is my theory.
Interesting.
About like what is going on with the FBI investigation and like
my question
all
for
that.
You that's a very interesting theory, Jack. I don't think I've actually heard someone describe it to me like that, and that makes a lot of sense. What does the Democratic Party have to do in 2020 to take the presidency? In
2020, they need to put up the right candidate. I mean, in 2016, I just don't think. I think it was bad timing. I don't think that Hillary Clinton was the right candidate to go up against Donald Trump.
Well, actually, I mean,
I thought
think
she was
a horrible candidate to go up against anybody.
I think if she wasn't against Trump in other elections, she totally would have taken it.
She her team put out propaganda in favor of Trump to get him be the candidate that she would run against, because it would be
right.
She thought it would
but
be
now we're hearing
battle.
From Michael Cohen that he did, under the direction of Donald. This came out like today. That it was a Wall Street Journal report, but they reported that he literally did go out and hire a firm to fund polling agencies in order to have them polled in the lead up to the election, and in order to have them favor Trump more. He literally paid he paid someone $50,000. Like he even admitted all of this, and there's so much to unpack just in knowing that report. But like, A, is there anything illegal going on? B, even if there isn't anything illegal, how is that going to make the American people feel about what Trump was doing in the lead up to the election? He knew he knew about that.
I think the average
paying
American,
to have that happen.
I think the average American won't care.
I mean,
to be honest, I don't care that much.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why 2020 is such
a
big deal, because it's in the future. It's we don't have to think about it in the past.
So I'm going to read you some possible candidates, and I want you to begin as I read the candidate just by giving me a yay or nay, And then after I've read all of them,
oh boy,
you tell me which candidate you think we should get. I mean, I'll agree that I think the most important part is that the Democratic Party needs to unify. I think last election there was a big split between the Hillary Clinton supporters and the Bernie Sanders supporters.
And I'm not going to lie, I still believe to this day that if Bernie hadn't been hamstringed at the primaries, he would if it was him against Trump, he would have won the election.
Yes.
If it was Hillary against Trump, I don't think Hillary would. She didn't. She did win the popular vote, but
she didn't. Yeah,
she didn't win the election. But if I know so many of those moderate conservatives who were on the fence because of their hatred for Hillary, and I bet you a lot of them tipped over for Trump. And it's like, if Bernie had been there, I really believe
I do.
So many of them I've talked to have been like, yeah, if it was Bernie and Trump, I would have voted for Bernie. Okay. It's just like it's very sad.
Let me move to my list.
Mm-hmm.
We'll begin. This was kind of I grabbed this from a little bit of a list that was already organized about the top candidates, Democratic candidates that could be running in 2020. So it's kind of organized from that, but we'll start. So first one is Joe Biden.
I don't want Joe Biden to run. I don't want him to run because I know that if Joe Biden runs, the DNC and the establishment of the Democrats is going to hedge all of their bets on that old horse. And they think that he's this like tough dude who's like a wild card, ding, and he's going to have the balls to go up against Donald Trump in an election, but I don't think that's what we need. I don't want another old white man.
All right. Well, we come to the next one, Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders, an old white man.
Wild card.
Honestly, he is a bit of a wild card. I don't know if he can do it. I don't know if he can kick it another election. I really just don't know. But
that's also something I agree with.
But I will say, of the old white men, he is definitely my favorite. He's so I feel like a lot of people would agree he's so totally genuine in that, like, what he wants,
mm-hmm.
when we've seen him, speak publicly, like he's very caring, and he has a history of showing his like ability to like adapt to what is progressive, and he was a civil rights advocate. He got arrested for protesting.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been in with the progressives since day one. He's a day one progressive, and I really like that about him.
For sure. I'm
sorry.
I really
popped the mic again.
I really do like Bernie Sanders as a candidate. All right, this next one touches close to home. Beto O'Rourke.
I like Beto O'Rourke, but I voted for him, but I don't. Again, it's like I don't know if he. I don't know if he can do it. I don't know if he's known and powerful, and I don't know if he's known enough, and if he has enough political clout I don't know if he has enough political clout within the community, meaning within the community of other senators and former senators or congressmen or lobbyists.
That's the reason.
People who give money.
That's the reason I like him the most, because he's the least.
Right, he's not known, and I do like him because of that. But I don't think he can do it.
I do. I guess I do think he could do it. He definitely. This recent election in Texas was the closest it's ever been for the Democratic Party.
Right. He had an amazing turnout. I'm really impressed with his turnout.
He's both, progressive enough that real change could happen, but he's also not so.
He's a moderate.
He's not so crazy that I feel like there would be fringe conservatives that, for example, wouldn't vote for Bernie Sanders that would vote for Beto O'Rourke. And the other thing is he's very young, and he's very
and he knows other. He has. He's intelligent in other cultures.
He's reasonable. He's intelligent.
He's traveled, and he knows.
Yes.
He's
friendly.
He just has a wider scope of knowledge than I feel like a lot of those old crocs.
I agree.
Have
that's why I think he could be a very easy person to to promote if they decided. I understand what you're saying. He's not. And with
I think he'd be a good running mate. Not gonna lie. I think he'd be a good. I think he'd be a good guy to slap on your ticket.
I feel like for the exact reasons you were describing, he could really easily complete a lot of things that people want.
I just want to point out right now, my number one candidate isn't on here.
Interesting. Okay, I'll quickly run through these. Just give me yay or nays instead of giving me the whole thing. So the next one is Amy Klobuchar.
I'm not familiar.
She's a I think she's a senator. She won the race in Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken. She's the first woman senator of Wisconsin. She's in the Midwest, and apparently that's a major strategy that the Democrats are going for, is through the middle. And so she's a female.
Right,
that might
they're trying to take Michigan. They're trying to take Ohio.
Next one I have on here is Cory Booker.
Nice
guy.
I like Cory Booker, but again, I don't think
he would be supported very much.
I don't think he has. It's like Trump appeals so much with ethos. You need someone who I really feel who's going to have the attitude to take down this big giant bully. And like I think that even though it's not really obviously important in the qualifications of a president, but I'm so cynical by what happened in the last election that I feel like what we need is a candidate who's going to look good and sort of rowl up the party again.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, and then the final one I have here is Elizabeth Warren.
I like Elizabeth Warren a lot.
I do not like Elizabeth Warren.
I know a lot of people don't like her because of her. A lot of people don't like her because of her assertions on her racial background, but she was only using that as a rebut to someone who was arguing a point against her, and she was using it as factual evidence to clear it up.
That's not my point against
But like, I also just like her because she's consistently in the past shown that she has no regard for the big. She has no regard for, or she is consistently in support of her. The people that she was voted by. Okay. She is consistently
So tell me,
practiced policies that her voters have wanted.
Yes. Tell me who your candidate is.
My favorite candidate, just because I think she's incredibly intelligent.
Oh, no.
I think she
Let's hear it.
Has a really good amount of political clout. She's an incredible speaker, and she's a really strong and powerful woman in a way that I feel like
I think I know what you're about to say, and I'm about to destroy your dreams.
Do you think I'm going to say Oprah?
No.
Kamala Harris?
Yes.
Why? What's wrong?
Kamala Harris is currently 29 years old. You need to be 35 years old or older to run for the presidency. By the year 2020, she will not be the age of 35.
Wait a second. Is she really 29?
She is 29 years old. And if you'd like to fact check that, Connor.
No way.
If I'm not mistaken, she was on that list, and I looked at her, and it was like, well, she's 29, so she can't run for presidency. And I was like, what?
We'll check on that right now.
Thank you. Please check that, because that might be wrong.
I don't know if that's...
That might be wrong. But
because
wow. I got destroyed. Whatever I read was so wrong.
No, she's my favorite candidate.
Dang, I feel horrible right now.
Have you seen
that was very stupid of me.
You can see no.
What was this site that I read?
I think you're talking about. I think you're confusing her with Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez.
No, it was Kamala Harris, but it said something about her age. It was talking about she can't run for presidency, but maybe that was. I don't know. That's weird.
She
was on the list, so I was like, why is she on the list?
No,
if she can't?
but that's she would be my favorite candidate because she has an attitude and the intellect that I think could adequately go up against Trump in a way that Hillary couldn't. I mean, she's also. I mean, she's young. She's younger.
Here's the thing.
She's a woman, and she'll stand with that perspective. Like, I think that would be a really important perspective to have in the White House.
I feel like the problem I have with
that. I want a mother
is I feel
in the White House.
I feel like that point of pushing a mother in the White House is a point that people will view.
It's not just because she's a woman.
No,
it's not
I understand.
She's a woman.
But
I'm
explaining to you that
as
I think people are gonna view it like it sucks, but just the way that the U.S. is at the current moment is that. Obviously, the Democratic females are going to love it, but I do think that the conservatives, the fringe conservatives, are going to be like, oh, look, the Democrats are pushing another woman again. They're just pushing her because she's a woman. They want, whatever. And I think that'll work against them, even though in my heart, I'm like, I have no problem with it. I would love for there to be a woman president. But I think people are going to think of it as we're pushing this woman because she is a woman, not because she necessarily qualified. And I think that I think at this stage in time, I think it's really important. There's a huge group of people that are still conservative but aren't in support of Trump. And I think those are the candidates that need to be grabbed. I think the Democrats are already just hate Trump so much that they really will go for kind of whatever. And I do think we still need a good candidate, obviously. But I do think that Beto O'Rourke, as proven with what he did in Texas, very barely.
I like Beto O'Rourke. I'd like him. I don't know if I want him to run for president, but I definitely would vote for a ticket that he was on.
I know he's thinking about it, but I just think it would be really great. I think
you're voting.
I will be voting.
2020.
I'll be voting in 2020.
That'll be your first vote.
It'll be exciting. But I really do I do think he would be a great candidate, and I think he would be able to unify, because I think that's the main problem right now. I feel even myself as a moderate Democrat, I guess I'd call myself at this point in time, which is funny because I used to call myself progressive, but it's shifted so much. I think it's very important to be unified as a Democrat, and I do feel separated from a lot of other Democrats, and so I do think that a candidate like this would be able to kind of unify the party as a whole and be able to scoop up the people that aren't necessarily Democrats but really just aren't a fan of Donald Trump. And I think that's kind of I think people need to I think we need to reinstate the idea in people's minds that votes do matter. I think that's the biggest thing that happened last election is people felt like their vote didn't matter.
And we also saw that in 2018 with the midterms. The turnout was one of the best turnouts that we've ever had. It was especially in our generation with the youth. We did well. We did really well. But I think we may be wrapping up soon.
Yeah. I will once again want to apologize to Kamala Harris because
Kamala Harris.
I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing her wrong. Her name wrong.
I'm pretty sure it's Kamala Harris.
That was whatever source I read was.
Or it might be
horrible.
Kamala Harris.
It might be Kamala. It was a horrible source, so I apologize for that misstatement of facts.
I wanna leave the podcast with
4
one
years
sentiment.
old.
Can I?
Yes, you can leave the podcast.
The ones I heard someone very talented and smart, a doctor I think, say this on Joe Rogan, and I think it was a very poignant sentiment about Trump supporters. And I believe in forgiving Trump supporters, those who voted for Trump in 2016. I don't know if I can say the same for those who still support him after everything that's come out now. But what I will say is not all Trump supporters are racists. But I can safely say that in this country, all racists are Trump supporters.
Interesting statement. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
And on
that note, thank you guys for watching episode 4 of the AV Podcast. We will be back again next Friday, 1:30 every Friday. Tune in. Thank you guys for watching this episode.
I'm just going to hug up on the mic right now.
Have a great rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Was last seen in the Hollywood area. Action. Was last seen in the Hollywood.
Very clever the way everything blends together. Things seem to balance.